Grandma, you have always done a lot of volunteer leadership. What are some of your proudest accomplishments from that?
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention with the last question was that we had a mobile home. We lived in a mobile home for 3 years, and when we were moving around in the mountainous areas, Grandpa would have to pull that mobile home over the Continental Divide. And that was kind of scary at times. But we liked having the mobile home because it was our own. We didn't have to go into a dirty apartment and clean it all up before we could live there.
I have a question. Was the Continental Divide located near Utah?
I think it goes through Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, New Mexico. I don't think the Continental Divide is ever in Utah. It's not in Utah.
No, she's right. She's exactly right on where it is. It's a spine of the Rocky Mountains that goes down through Colorado and New Mexico.
Okay, so I think I first started volunteering really was in Bogota because I became involved with a group called the Interfaith Task Force, and I was the treasurer, and we gave scholarships to kids to go to a school. There are no public schools in Bogota, so they had to go to private schools, and we sponsored children. And I had to go down to the barrio, which means it was a very poor area, once a month, and they would bring their report cards, and I would have to check them and make sure their grades were okay so they could get their scholarship, and I'd make out the check for their scholarship for the next semester. And then when I came back to the United States, we came back to Dallas and bought a house in Richardson, and I did the usual things. I was a Cub Scout leader, and I volunteered in the school library, and I had been a Bluebird leader for Laurie when we lived in Midland, Texas. And then I became involved in other groups, and I became active in supporting the Richardson Symphony. And I joined the Symphony League, and that was a group of ladies and men who volunteered to raise funds for the symphony. And I was co-chairman of the Symphony Ball. And that was a very difficult job. And I think fundraising is one of the more difficult aspects of volunteer work. I also started playing the piano and helping people in nursing homes sing. I would go there once a month and play the piano for a while. And I'm still involved in going to nursing homes and giving parties for the people who live there 3 times a year. And right now I'm getting ready to shop for children whose parents cannot afford to get them any Christmas presents. And a group of ladies, and I will go on next Friday and will shop for these children. And I also help at a young artists competition. We have high school students from all over the world. They even come from Russia and Europe to compete for prizes, a scholarship for them. And that event I'll be working at it in January.
We'll be working that again in January?
Mm-hmm. We'll have it every January.
And where is this again?
Well, we hold it at the University of Texas at Dallas, but the big thing is that the students get to perform with the symphony. They get to play with the Richardson Symphony, the winners.
Grandpa, you had a very successful career as an executive with GSI. Tell us some of your favorite accomplishments.
try. How much time do you have? I worked for GSI from 1957 till 1989. And some of the neatest things that I'm proud of was helping keep the company at the leadership in the technology of the geophysical exploration industry. We kind of invented the digital recording systems that finally took over all the work. We kind of invented the three-dimensional process, which helps you make better maps of the rocks and so forth. As I got farther up into the industry, into the company, we continued growing our revenues, our income increased and got pretty respectable, and we were very critical in a period of TI history when they were having profit problems, and we were making quite a bit of money, so we were pretty popular inside the company at that point in time. The most frustrating part of my career with GSI though was when our profits started going down in the last half of the 80s, and Texas Instruments, who owned us, decided that they would sell us. So they sold us to Halliburton, the Halliburton company, and I stayed and worked with them as a part of the Halliburton company for about a year, and then Halliburton merged it with another company and moved it to Houston, and that's when I retired from GSI, and so that was kind of not the fun part, but the first 30 years were a lot of fun.